I'm not gonna need that. Okay, recording start.
All right. The June 2024 meeting of the Board of Commissioners for the South Whitby Parks and Recreation District is called to order at 6:02 p.m. We have a quorum present. Is there anyone for public comment?
There is not.
Ready? We will move on to the approval of the minutes. Has every commissioner reviewed the minutes? Mm-hmm. Are there any questions or changes to the minutes? I would entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from May's meeting.
I'll second the motion.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the regular meeting minutes from the May meeting. All those in favor say aye.
Mr. I.
Jake, aye.
Matt, aye.
And for aye, all those opposed say nay. The ayes have it, the motion passes. Moving on to the treasurer's report.
Okay. Can you go back to the overall? Somehow your PowerPoint's or your Excel's reformatting my blocks there, Brian.
You not seeing it?
It's like you're just compressing the chart by about 10-15%.
Let me see if I can do anything. It's coming through on this side. Okay, let me see if I can make it bigger. Is that?
Are you seeing it's just the text block in the green box is been compressed, so you can't see the last line of text.
Yes, okay. Yes, I can make that bigger.
You just stretch that box. Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
Okay, so treasurer's report, again, for calibration, up is favorable. You can see the green line is actual, the darker line is budget. So we are significantly favorable. That circle also got stretched. When you stretch the chart to the right, you moved the circle now needs to move over to the right to cover May.
Where we at?
Go to the outside chart area now. There.
Yeah, you can just squeeze the chart back, or you can move the circle over. Yeah, keep going. Yeah, almost. Yeah, there you go. So you can see that that's the May number. It represents favorability of 370K, but that's not a representation of actual favorability because we've got about almost 300,000 in deferred maintenance capital, or not deferred maintenance, sorry, deferred capital expenditures. The mower, the well pump, and pickleball. Those will all be expended this year. So they're just being deferred. The mower will be expended this month. As the latest word I heard, the well pump is going to be deferred pending the work that we had authorized last month for the water system improvements for the aquatic recreation center. And then pickleball is just pending the, further advancement of the project. So all those will be expended. So the real favorability is on the order of 80K overall. If you go to the revenue is just about flat. We're just slightly favorable to plan. That circle is supposed to be over there, but yeah, Brian, we got to work on this. I'll send it next time as a PDF file so that it doesn't reformat. But that circle over that represents roughly $14,000 in revenue favorability. So just consider it to be on plan. And then from an expense category, if you flip to the expense, you'll see that large number, 355K, and 290 of that is just deferred. So all that's in that capital line. So that cumulative capital line will eventually drift back down once we expend. The mower is about 160 or 170, and then the well pump and the pickleball represent the rest. If you look at the fund balances, we're on plan. So any questions on the treasury report or the capital expenditures? And if not, we'll move on to the vouchers.
Thank you, Mayor.
Okay.
Yep. The vouchers this month were pretty straightforward. The differences, some of the differences from the report you received on Friday. Nothing too much. We have a couple ARC bills. Those are going to keep. These are some smaller ones, the 5,000 and 23,000. Those will start getting larger as the months go on, but we are back getting them. And a couple other things that stuck out. The polar bear dive. Strange to be paying that in June, but that's when they billed us. So you'll see that in the updated vouchers. The diamond dust that you guys approved last month has been purchased. So you'll see that in the updated vouchers, as well as a large payment to the school district of around $12,000 for the rental and a little bit for the fuel. And then the new mower is also listed in the vouchers at the bottom here under what's the thing? That's the new, is it 16-foot, Tom? 16-foot mower that allows the parks team to get the job done quickly. I'd like to borrow that in my yard sometime, so make my afternoon very easy. Yeah, anyways, you'll see that there at the bottom. So those are some of the updates and some of the more interesting ones on the vouchers. Any questions about anything there?
Yeah, so that's the one, it's 170K, not 160K.
For the mower?
Yeah,
Yeah.
170, that's
Yeah,
correct.
it's 160, yeah.
Okay. And what's the new final total?
12.
Yeah, is that on the form? Is that
It's
on?
on the bottom of the voucher list.
Oh, okay.
312,
Yeah.
398.
And 26 cents. And then that was updated there. Sorry about all. So $312,298.26.
Yeah, 26. Yeah, okay.
Are there any questions? All right, I would entertain a motion.
Okay, if no questions, I'll make a motion to approve the vouchers in the amount of $312,298.26.
I'll second that motion.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the voucher list in the amount of $312,298.26. All those in favor say aye.
Krista, I.
Jake, I.
Matt, aye.
Jennifer, aye. All those opposed say nay. The ayes have it and the motion passes.
And just passing through the budget to actual, I went through this afternoon and pretty standard for early summer stuff. So nothing really jumped out other than pickleball continues to crush it. Pickleball revenue is just, it's popular. So, if there's no,
How's volleyball doing?
volleyball's doing well. It's, it's not to the same level, but, they're getting the crowd. Anyways, so if there's no questions about any of those things, then you move on.
All right. On to the staff report, please.
All right. On recreation, Sky is out at the disc golf clinic. They're doing a clinic out at the sports complex today, so we're excited to see what kind of turnout they get in interest. The chum run, we're still working on it. The HIAC and the different stakeholders have had a couple meetings. Sky's our representative. Now the most recent update is they're thinking they're going to do it at Fort Casey. They've kind of laid a map out for that. They just have to work out some logistics and set a date. So we'll see. I don't know. They don't want to have it here just because of the fact that we're the bottom of the island. They have a lot of people coming down the island and they would rather have it more centralized. All right.
Do they know if parking would be included?
They're still, I don't know. I think they've laid out a course, but I don't know they've got too far in actually asking permission.
That would be state parks. If they perhaps can't work out something at Fort Casey, Camp Casey is under sort of new leadership and a new direction, and they're looking to be a lot more part of the community.
Okay. Interesting.
And they do have some forests and they have some trails and they do have parking. Yes, it is.
Yeah. I do the focus on September. They're thinking the week of September is their goal, but they're still working out the logistics and we're on it. So we'll let you know when that's some that. Softball signups are underway. Softball season's getting started this week, really. So we have 6 teams signed up. That's down a couple from last summer, which is fine. Ballroom dance with Jules. Our new Jules is doing a fitness class, and this month she also started her dance classes. So every month is a different kind of dance. So she's the class is really doing well. So she's going to be very popular, I think. Camps are starting next week. Lots of programming. I won't go through all of it. Scott gave you the report a couple months ago. And then the big news around here is we did hire someone new, a seasonal staff, Christine Silvernail. She's actually out with Sky today. Otherwise, I would have had her come in and say hello. Christine has a lot of event experience. Has done a lot of anything from weddings to being an assistant to different people. So she's got a lot of different experience that we're really banking on take some of the load off the Sky this summer so that we can build and keep growing. So we are excited to have her there. And speaking of staff, we also have Shelby with us tonight, which we're excited. If you guys haven't had a chance to meet Shelby, she's our new administrative assistant, but she's joining us tonight just get to know the Bible a little bit better. So facility and grounds, it's spring. Their report has been really, really busy, right? That pretty much sums up everything's growing. Everything's growing. That's the
Yeah, the only exciting thing is we got the infill material in and got the fields 1 and 2 completely redone with infill material and just been ready for the softball league. So after Little League's on it for 3 months, it's kind of beat up and needs a little attention. And so we knocked it out pretty quick the other day. That material's a godsend.
Yeah.
You guys hate buying it, but everybody loves it. So.
and that extra staff you guys approved, I think, is also a godsend. I think having a 4-person crew is really balanced out the work and allowed them to do some stuff that they weren't, stay on top of things. So, which is great. So,
Are you going to talk about the asphalt face?
yes, that's part of it. And we'll get to it.
Taking my thunder.
I know. You'll be here for it though. Okay, director's report. We did have a public meeting last week to talk about the pickleball courts. Well attended. Krista joined us. We had about 35 people there. Really good feedback. Feedback I thought was really mature, really well thought out. They were really focused. They know that the funds are limited, so they really focused their attention, I think, on the physical courts. The width of the sidelines for the space was a really huge issue for them. But I really thought that they really had thought through, not just we want everything, but it was really a smart group that kind of knew, how they wanted the money spent. So the architect was there, Don Campbell, and he is taking all the feedback and going to get us an updated set of drawings that we can look at and make some decisions from.
Most of it was around safety.
Yeah.
Which I really appreciated,
Yeah.
as opposed to, water, all the different directions it could have gone.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, it was a really healthy meeting and a good, very focused. There wasn't a lot of division. Like the group knew what they wanted and they all seemed to agree on it. So that makes it a lot easier, a lot quicker for the architect to get to work and to make some, plans. So, other good news, the district received their bond rating of a AA-, which is great. We were told early on that what you want to see are 2 A's together. 3 A's are unbelievable, but 2 A's are what your goal is. So we achieved that. That's the same rating we received in 2008. But we're also told that they are much more difficult to get these days. That they're much higher scrutinized. So well done. Matt was a part of that group, as well as our accountant Teresa. Obviously carried a heavy load and getting all the stuff ready. That's good. We now have the option, which we'll take advantage of, to purchase what's called bond insurance. Bond insurance is it's around 26,000, but it rolls into not what we take out, but what of some of the interest and some of the fees. So we buy the insurance, and that bumps our rating up to a AA, which means the overall price saves about 120,000 over the course of it. So being in this level, we get the option of, actually getting the AA rating because we go into the insurance covered rate. So that's going to drive some pricing down too. So we'll know a lot more in the next week or two when the bonds go for sale. The bonds are set. The bond pricing is set for the 26th. We've started sharing the news out. It should be in the paper tomorrow. The information that was set out by DA Davidson about, we've got a bond rating and it's kind of a celebratory thing, but it also has the opportunity for local people if they want to inquire about purchasing some of the bonds. So So, that's a nice thing if people want to feel that kind of investment. So that's available. We shared that up with the foundation too, put that on our website that people can, if they want to make that kind of investment into the pool, as long as they're not a staff or a commissioner, they're allowed. So, or not. So anyways, that's good.
When does a decision have to be made on that insurance?
It's by tomorrow, but it's really a no-brainer. Me and Carrie talked it through with Jim yesterday. There's no real downside.
We will do it.
We will do it.
Okay.
And yeah, because if we don't lose any of the capital, the 15 million still, the full 15 million will give it comes out at the top of all the interest and all the other stuff like Jim's salary does, like Anna, the lawyer's salary does. That doesn't come, we still get the full 15 million. In the long run, it drives the prices down for the community and they project about $120,000 in savings. So that's, it's a no-brainer, gets us a better rate.
That costs what again?
About 26, a little over 26,000. So, and I've got
we'll make that back in portion, it'll be paid back within the first, something less than the first 7 years. So that upfront cost will be paid back. And then the rest of the term of the bonds will be earning that money back.
Actually, I didn't put this part of the packet because I got it kind of late, but Jim did give me kind of a cheat sheet for this as to kind of what they anticipate. Obviously, it's not settled yet. There's some number differences, but it's a no-brainer. There's no downside to this. This gets us farther along and helps the bottom line. So, anyways, so the bond pricing goes next week, and then we're still anticipating a July, hopefully 16th, right around that deadline for the 15 million to physically be into our account. So, everything has stayed on schedule, and we're excited. Next thing, I've done this a couple months. I may do it again next month, who knows? But I will bring section 5 and 6 of our policy manual, which are the finance and the park sections, to you for review. But the bond rating just really took our win this month. So we just didn't have the bandwidth to do that well. So it's coming. If you put that on there until we're there. And then the last thing for the director report, we were told by the county last week that, and this is just, it's a timing thing. I just want to make you all aware of that the deadline for us to receive our monthly treasury report is the 10th business day, not the 10th of the month, which we've always understood it to be. So there caused some frustration when we had a board meeting like on the 15th and we were getting the report on the 13th. And by their standards, they will have met the quota. So there was some miscommunication. Even we had to ask multiple people in the county, but we finally got the answer from the top. So, not for tonight, but something to consider down the line if that's going to be a challenge. For instance, 5 months this year, the 5th or the 10th business day of the month falls within 2 days of the board meeting. So obviously with Carrie and Matt turning those reports around, it's pretty tight. And we felt that the last couple of months where you guys don't get your reports late because we're getting it from the county late. So just something to consider if we might want to, if that becomes a challenge, we could talk about board meeting dates next year and looking at the calendar to see if there's dates you want to push it back. But just interesting. No action step on that, just new information. And that is the staff report. Any questions?
How, I think it was mentioned, but that signups for all the summer stuff is.
Yeah, they're running well. I mean, there's space in some things, so they're not.
There's space in swim lessons, which is kind of surprising.
Yeah.
Wow.
And not in the toddlers.
Yeah.
I tried. I was there right when it opened. I thought, and nope, they were close. They were full.
Sorry, Jake.
It's all no.
It's worth it to get on the wait list.
I think I was a couple minutes late.
So, okay, so there's still some room in swim lessons. Any ideas as to why there's, or there, what am I trying to ask? Is it just, actually having a little bit of extra capacity, which is good, that should probably fill, or are there any trends?
This one,
Or just overall?
the swim lessons, we've actually offered less.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Surprising that it's
Those kids.
I wouldn't know a trend.
Okay,
I heard the
yeah, and then
eighth
it's
grade
got-
graduation, or the eighth grade promotion was 86 kids.
Mhm.
Just for kids.
Well, and we offer a lot of stuff. And so the amount of options that parents have is gonna thin out some program because you can only take so many, you can only sign up for so much. I mean, the amount of, when Sky did a presentation a couple months ago, I thought you really see how, what the diverse options are out there. It's pretty crazy. But
I would also say that I'm seeing, maybe I'm more attuned to it because of my daughter or something, but I'm seeing a lot of other organizations propping up and having quite a bit of offerings. So the community center or entities within the community center, I see a lot of offerings through it's called Peach Jar, which is where flyers are sent out to the students. A lot of offerings for a lot of different summer camps.
Okay.
So
On island.
mhm. Yeah, there may be a little bit of moderating of thinking.
Okay.
We're not the only game in town anymore.
Yeah.
that's great for families.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't think that's a bad thing. It's just just interesting. I was also wondering in terms of just how organized people are, and is some of it going to be a lot of kind of last minute?
Schools that don't know what to think about stuff.
Yeah, exactly. That's what was thinking that it was part of, like, it's gonna come, but people are just pushing that decision further and further out and just taking a long time to get
Mhm.
organized.
If people don't feel like it's gonna fill up, they'll take their time. If they feel like swim lessons,
Right.
the first day of swim lessons, everyone's on their computer pounding on the keyboard trying to get a
Yeah.
spot. But if they feel like, oh, there'll be spaces I can put it off.
Yeah.
I'll wait till we're a little closer, make sure that camping trip is set and that grandma's coming to town this week and
Yeah.
let's,
A lot of
schedule.
procrastination and.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, if they're having to weigh all of their options, summer childcare or, being in this camp on this week and then, it's kind of.
Probably inflation too, because it's expensive. Just living's expensive. This is extra.
Yeah. It's hard to find.
Probably some people that can't afford it, much extra.
Mhm.
Pick this camp or that camp, which one do
Right,
you want?
right. But highlight, the scholarships are also available.
Mhm.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that has increased much. Applications. At least for South.
So the numbers aren't bad. They're not overflowing. They're not it being spilled up. So I think Sky seems happy with where the numbers are. But yeah. Good stuff.
We'll move on to unfinished business, the comprehensive plan programs.
Oh, we're gonna do the committee and. ending
Oh,
report.
sorry, shall we? Yes. Any committee reports?
Yeah, the notes.
Read the notes.
Yeah, I got a paper.
Oh, there you go. You can read them.
Campground committee.
Yes, the campground committee notes. And it was a good meeting. We established at least a little bit of a next step
Mhm.
with the county and also a possible timeline.
Yeah, and the timeline is definitely possible, like Chris has said. It's definitely not set in stone. It is, we have some bulleted points here. 2024 big site plan for the county. And also we're asking the county what they want to see from us too in that site plan, because we have a couple revisions. We have 3 revisions of the current site plan that will need to be revisited before it's finalized. County to receive a permit, what permits to complete all phases of the campground project. 2025 complete to-do list and get permit from the county. 2026 pursue funding to complete the design. 2028, pursue funding to complete the build of the campground. 2029, build campground. That is what we discussed as possibilities.
And I did get from the county after our meeting just yesterday, I think, basically what they need in the site plan, and it was quite an extensive email, so I can forward it. What the county has told us is that we have 3 site plans for you, we need 1. Let's do that first. And then after that, we'll get to-do list and the to-do list for what you need to get in the permit. And then you can work on getting the permit. And so there are some steps here that are fine. I mean, that's good. I mean, the bottom line is that we're keeping the conversation going. We've got regular meetings scheduled every quarter as a committee to keep the conversation moving forward. We're building a pool, and that's certainly overlapping this. And we need to, we talked about before, and I think we're doing a good job of making sure that this doesn't get knocked out of the loop because we're building a pool. So we're just pacing ourselves, I think, at a reasonable pace.
Right.
I appreciate you guys.
But we also realized that we didn't want construction projects on both sides of the park. There are things like access and roads and if one side of the park is kind of closed because there's construction going on, we can't do the same on the other side. So kind of looking at that really kind of overall bigger picture for the entire area.
And remember our RCO funding windows are application deadline in spring 2026 and spring 2028 overlapping your timeline.
Yeah. And the other thing to temporarily postpone this a little bit is that the pool is a massive undertaking with a small staff. But this is a decent sized project, not anywhere near the pool, but to try to do 2 of them at the same time. I don't think there's enough bandwidth between the size of the staff and commissioners and everyone right now.
It lays out well. I think it lays out well to focus on the pool, keep moving the campground forward as we can do it. And when the pool's open and running, then we can hit the gas on the campground. Lays out well, I think.
The other, I can give a quick pool committee report.
Yep.
And so following the meeting last month where we made a couple of those decisions on restarting the project funding, we as a pool committee met to review all of the requested changes that had come from the public meetings and other public interface, and the review of local facilities, including Snohomish and Port Angeles and Skagit YMCA, notably. Also Rainier Beach and Eastside Community Center in Tacoma and Sammamish YMCA Community Center up on the Issaquah Plateau. And went through that list one by one exhaustively with the ARC team. One thing we learned in the restart is one of the ARC team members, one of the architects, had left the company, Aaron Warner. He was one of the principal architects on the facility as it's gone so far through the DD phase. He also was their primary interface with Island County. And he had been very successful in his work with Island County. He had a good relationship with them and rapport with them. So one of the things we focused on was how they were reconstituting their team. They had added a new hire who wasn't present in the meeting, but has joined the team working on our project. And the project leader, Paul Curtis, was taking on the responsibility of the county, primary responsibility of the county interface. So, even with that personnel transition, it seems like their team was picking up okay. They've now given us some responses to some of the things that we had asked about, changes, and and also have offered to set up some follow-on meetings between us directly with some of the subcontractors, including the aquatic subcontractor, who's this company ADG out of San Diego, and the HVAC subcontractor. I can't remember their name. Brian, you may know their name, but a chance for us to address some of the concerns we had with the HVAC system based on some lessons learned from those other facilities, particularly Rainier Beach. Rainier Beach was designed by ARC, and this same HVAC subcontractor and Rainier Beach has had some struggles with that temperature control in that building. So we're going to meet directly with the HVAC guys to talk about that, and then directly with the aquatic design consultant to talk about some of the changes we wanted there for improved usability. So good re-engagement with them. They're back on the horse, and even with a little bit of a reconstituted team, they're I think well positioned to make the project go moving forward. The other thing is the grant applications. We did. They did the technical review, and we did the dry run presentation of the 2 grant applications to RCO, one to the WWRP local parks and one to the LWCF grant. And we had Brian participate, and Bill Swint represented the foundation, was also dialed into those meetings. And we got feedback from the group, notably Doug Coots. It was on the local parks. I think it was the local parks one. Brian, is that right? Yeah, the local parks review board. Doug was sitting on it and had lots of good feedback for us. He's done this a couple times. When he was our director, he got into that, for review board volunteering, and now has done it several times. So he's quite experienced at it and had good feedback. And we're incorporating that feedback prior to the final review and the board in August. So.
And that was kind of you to say that Brian participated. I think that was a superstar. He really handled that really well. And I think the presentation, very convincing, both of them. So when we go back in August, I feel optimistic that they'll get a good chance.
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah, I like I said, I think we got good feedback. They were pretty engaged.
Good questions. Like Doug in particular, it's nice to have someone who knew the project, knew the location, knew some of the logistical stuff that you challenged with. So that was nice.
Yep.
So.
Great. Community council?
Yeah, no, that's it for me.
Great.
Thanks, man.
So Clinton Community Council, they're putting in a new reader board.
Oh, there we go.
Southwood School District reported that a search firm will be selected and begin to search for replacement for Joe Melsha. Port of South Whitby, it's got a little convoluted. Port of South Whitby, so according to Kurt Gordon, for the fairgrounds, for the apartments to go above the food places, the county had given funding in the way of a grant for workforce housing. And then the city of Langley pulled their support for it, which then put the grant in jeopardy. And then evidently the council did a bit of a turnaround and said, now they're going to work on revising code. There was also some rumblings that maybe all of those buildings aren't necessarily on the fairgrounds property. So didn't have good clarity on that. Ferries, Kurt talked about ferries a bit. They're now leaning more towards hybrid and not all electric, as Governor Inslee has wanted. Commissioner Melanie Bacon spoke about charging EV stations at Coopville campus of the county. Island Transit may be putting in some EV stations at their upcoming South End station. There is no county plan EV charging stations. Port of South Whitby wants to put some in at their park and ride. They're running into snags with PSE. And on Tuesday, June 25th, from 6:30 to 8:30 at the Clinton Community Hall, there will be a county commissioners candidate forum. And then on Tuesday, July 9th, there will be another one that's more of the state candidates who are running. So you can find more information on the Clinton Community Council website. And at that point, no one seemed to know what the League of Women Voters was doing.
The new bulletin board that's gonna go at Clinton Community Hall.
Community Hall. Mhm.
Is it, electrical, digital, or is it?
It's new. And they had a book sale. I don't know if they had a book sale, but there's a book sale there. Things like. Okay.
Those are nice. We've got a lot of books.
Oh, you're a good age to get a lot of books too, because,
Right here.
yeah, courier storage and such.
Freeland Library, I think it's once a month they have a continuing book sale. I believe it's a Saturday.
It's the second Saturday of every month. Yeah.
Did you learn?
Speaking of books and parks, a little bit of a detour, but there's a little free library up by the sports complex. That's the Rotaries.
Yes.
So I'm now in charge of keeping that stocked.
What about the one at the community park?
Somebody else does that.
Okay.
But, I mean, I can do that too. I guess I'm just putting out a request, like, if you notice that it needs some attention, could you let me know? I will be checking them, but
I bring books to the one down there quite regularly. Find the box and I see, oh, my daughter's old books.
just saying,
Yep.
if you notice, please let me know.
I think the roof's starting to fall off. The door doesn't work very well. It's broken.
I think the window was recently replaced, but okay, I can put,
Yeah, it just looked like. Got like little shakes on it.
okay, all right.
To take beating. I see different books in there every time I go though, so that means people are using it.
Good.
And they are switching them, at least, like I said, I don't go to the one. at the top.
There, that's terrific.
Yeah, so. It did take me a Rotary meeting to realize that it was that Rotary that did this. And when you're making a presentation in front of a group that does something like that, you need to acknowledge it. Or at least know it. So there's something that. Thank you to the Rotary West Side.
Any other committee reports?
Yeah, sorry, Jennifer, I've got one alibi.
Mhm.
So you remember from previous conversations, we had, or previous updates, we had met with this advocacy group called Kicking Gas about talking about the Aquatic Recreation Center and the sources of emergency backup power. The diesel generator was something that or the LP fuel generator was one thing that they were interested in, us finding other technologies for. We talked about the need to use, something like that conventionally fueled up until there's some other technology that's available that's commercially available and viable. But one of the things that we added to the specification for this emergency backup generator is that it could be powered by multiple, different types of gas, and that's relatively common in the generator world. So it can run on propane. It could also run on natural gas. And these generators can also run on non-fossil fuel gases, specifically a gas called syngas, which is manufactured gas, and biogas, which comes from biological sources. And so that's now in our specification for the generator. Right now, Kicking Gas appreciated that, and talking about sources of biogas on Whidbey, there currently aren't any of significance enough to give us 4,000 gallons for the generator storage. So King Gas is trying to work out the funding and construction of a biogas facility on Whidbey. And they call it a digester. It's basically a bioreactor that's, doing wastewater treatment or consuming a source of, a source of fuel, waste food products, agricultural waste products, things like that, and solid wastes. And they were reaching out through the foundation to the Parks District, and contact was me about, the Parks District interest in participating in something like that, maybe even citing this digester on Park District property. And my only response to them was that we should look for my personal recommendation was that they should look for the best location based on sources of those fuels for the digester on Whidbey. And, since it's solid waste fuel principally, having it somewhere around the Coopville solid waste facility seemed like it made way more sense, just to keep transit distances, so you're not trucking a bunch of stuff from that facility down to the district and back. I mean, not back, but down to the district and then driving the truck back. So I just provided them that feedback. I haven't heard anything back from that, but just in case that inquiry comes into anyone or comes into the district staff, that was the feedback I provided. Again, this is something that runs off of agricultural waste, off of food wastes, and off of solid waste to create a biogas that could power our generator. And, figuring out where the sources of those wastes are was my feedback to them. Figure out where it makes sense to put it. And it's unlikely that our park property is the best, most centralized spot. So thanks for that. That's the alibi.
Sounds like that will smell lovely.
All right,
Yeah,
moving
just a
on.
bunch of bioorganisms chewing up on waste.
Yeah, I worked in the city of Oak Harbor in the treatment plant for years. I know what that's all about.
Yep, a bioreactor. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Right, moving on to unfinished business, comprehensive plan programs.
All right, well, my monthly Lakes property report, which is, the gentleman who's the district manager, or the program manager for the district for the Department of Fish and Wildlife, Rob Winger, is very responsive. Gave me another update. He said he expects this week to get a substantial breakthrough in the HPA process permitting, allowing them to remove the gangplank and the cement. He says if he does not have a significant breakthrough this week, that he will start rattling cages, basically. And I took a couple of pictures because we have a new development. Oh, good.
Did you determine whether or not the HPA is in addition to or in lieu of the SEPA?
It seems like the SEPA thing has now been in the back burner because he's now going back to the HPA. And rather, they're working with SEPA, I'm not sure. Because initially it was taken away from it. A lot of agencies here. It was taken away from the HPA to give it to SEPA to make the decision. And now it's back with the HPA. It's been November and he knows that. He apologized. He said, I know how long this has taken and it's unacceptable. So he's very understanding that this is not okay. I mean, we're now into the hot season. The new development out there, you can see the picture up above here. This buoy line is supposed to go over here. And so the corner buoy, Tom pointed this out. I went out and took some pictures this weekend, or this week. The corner buoy should be over here, making a nice squared off swim area. Well, the buoy has now broken free and it looks like it's attached to the middle of our dock, making this weird little buoy off area here. And remember from previous meetings, when Tom was out there touching the buoy line, it's full of hooks. So I let the Department of Fish and Wildlife know that, there's another safety issue. I also took a picture of kind of the area we're talking about. I took several pictures, but this is kind of an overview of the gangplank and the cement again. Lots of cracks in this area that you really can't see. They did put a couple pieces of plywood up to cover some of the more extreme. But then really, I think one of the bigger safety issues is you have a cement block here, and then there's this little beat up, warped piece of wood that if I put my full weight on, would snap like a twig. That's just kind of floppingly between the two. It just needs to go. And it just needs to go. And they know that, but they have steps that they have to follow as a state agency. My big thing is it's going to be 80 degrees, and that's what a lot of people on that dock. The other thing that I pointed out to them is, you see these little black dots here. These are connectors that hold the different parts of the dock together. Well, in this little segment here, there's supposed to be 4 connectors and there's 1. So when you transition from this dock over to this dock, you instantly feel the jarring, like it shakes you a little bit. Like, again, if you're a kid going full pace and you cut that corner to the left, you get a little jar, you're going to go, what? There's just a lot. It just needs to go. And so I get that the people we're dealing with are overseeing a huge region, and our little island doesn't get attention. But this week he said there'd be a breakthrough. No, there's not. And I did ask him, because he is incredibly responsive, and I don't think he's the problem. The gentleman, actually, I think he's part of the solution. I said, are there other people that I can just go talk to? I said, give me names of the HP, because when you go on the website, you're not going to get anywhere. I said, tell me who you're talking to. Give me names of other people that I can shake out their cages, because yeah, it's been 7 months at this point of us reporting an issue that that isn't getting resolved. So
Go do your magic outside.
yes. So anyways, the report is basically that I was told there would be a major breakthrough this week. And so if that happens, I will email that out.
And the
Can we, oh, sorry.
buoys are theirs also.
That pretty much, once you hit the water, it's Island County's the water, but that whole dock infrastructure. Otherwise, we just would have taken this out in a weekend, a day. It's just not ours to take out. And so you get into this whole.
Can we put up hazardous tape?
I did ask that question. I said, can we at least post signs saying not safe, don't use the dock? And I've got a response back on that, because that came up the other day, and it's like, at the very least, people should know. I mean, logic tells you that, but if you're an 8-year-old kid, you're not using logic, you're using, I want to get in that water. Right, and that's what they do. So, and I did hear from the Clinton Community Council, and I CC'd you on my response because they wanted an update. So I told them, I shared the email, and I said, I was told I'd give a significant update this week, and I will let you know because they have a meeting, I think, on Monday, that they wanted to report out on. So anyways, so I will let you guys know when I know more about that. We did get, I think someone just took care of it. We also, I don't know if I mentioned last month that we also were having trouble at Lone Lake, where there was what looked like a metal pipe that looked like a sign holder that was in the water. And again, if you put your kayak over top of it, you're going to scrape it if someone stepped on it. But Tom went out there the other day and couldn't see it. So we're thinking that maybe someone just took care of the problem.
It was pretty windy that day, and the lake level was up. I was looking out where I stood, kind of a little impression. I don't know if they popped it out.
Someone
Just
just,
kind of filled it sand. So
someone just used
I
comments.
couldn't find it, but it was pretty good.
Yeah.
That's convenient.
Yeah, well done. Well done, local resident.
That's awesome.
Campground committee, we've already heard, that one. Aquatic Recreation Center, Tom and I met on site with ARC and Davido last week to discuss water access. That's what we authorized them to get back to work, and that's one of the major hurdles to this pool site is the water access. One of the interesting, they're looking at everything right now, Davido is. One of the interesting items they're contemplating is we have an old well that's not the one we decommissioned and destroyed, but there's another well up there that's the old well, smaller. Davido's going to look at that to see if that's a possibility as the primary well just for the pool. The 2 wells, we're likely going to have 2 wells here, whether it's that one and the one we're using or a new one. The 2 wells will be intermixed to the point that if there's a problem with one, we can access the other one. So the pool or the parks would never be in jeopardy, like their well went down. So anyway, so Davido's looking at that. The water conversation will be something that we talked about more in the months ahead. Now that we've reactivated ARC, I've asked Paul Curtis from ARC to start attending our board meetings quarterly. This is something we talked about in the past. Just available, nothing deep, just available to answer questions you may have. He'll be doing this virtually, probably starting in August and September. As Matt mentioned earlier, with the pool committee getting back to work and really going through this detailed list of items that still need to be vetted, we did get today an estimated cost of all the items that we're vetting. And again, we're looking at estimated costs. We're really not going to know the full cost until we open the bids, but these are educated guesses that we're anticipating. So as we get into kind of the transition points of going into CD And the JACC's work with the DD coming to an end over the next couple months. It's going to be more important that the entire board kind of know. I mean, Eric and Matt have kind of been doing the heavy lifting for a long time on the pool committee. So we've been talking and thinking about ways to kind of get everyone kind of the information you need. So we're talking about maybe a workshop or something like that later this summer where we can kind of just focus on just the pool. We want to make sure that these estimates and the costs that come in after the JACC's kind of gone through the list some more, that you guys kind of understand where they're projecting the cost to come in at, so decisions can be made based on that. So we're looking at sometime this summer. I'll reach out. I'll send you guys an email and just kind of reach out. But we got to move that conversation forward a little bit so that as we get into CD where they're making final decisions on some things, the five of you are kind of all up to pace. So we'll be looking at that over the next few weeks. I'll be sending some stuff out. And then finally, had a couple community members last week reach out, just looking for updates. One came through the pool committee. Through the pool foundation, through the aquatics foundation. So in response to that, we put something on our website, right on our front page with updates, where we are currently in the process. Of anyone can get on our website and see that. We put it out on social media saying, hey, if you want an update. And then I have it on my calendar at least once a month to go on there and just update it with where we are in the process. So people can just walk the journey with us a little bit and kind of see where we're at. So I think that's a reasonable thing. And, all this stuff was in service.
Hopefully keeps people excited.
Yeah, well, people want to know. We voted on the bond in
We're actually
November.
doing something, especially since the first, right, this article that's gonna be in the paper tomorrow.
Yes.
And the first influx of cash is released.
And people want to know why there's not a shovel in the ground. And I get that. And, we voted 7 months ago, let's go. But there's a process there. So I think that site will allow people in a very understandable way to just kind of understand the process. And
Right.
the foot's on the gas and we're moving as fast as we can.
I was driving here tonight and I went past the site. I could swear I could smell chlorine.
You might want to get your car checked. Yes, just fine. All right, well, that is our comp plan report.
All right, moving on to new business. Authorization of submitting Washington State grants. We have a couple of resolutions.
We do. These are pretty straightforward. These are the grants that Matt talked about earlier. The LWSCF grant, which is a grant that's looking to provide funding for the second pool, and then the WWRP grant, which is looking for funding to provide the trail, a new walking trail, as well as some additional parking spots in the lot. So those are pretty straightforward, but they do require a resolution authorization from the board. So there are two resolutions to look at, number 24-2007, which is the LWCF resolution. And then the other one is the WWRP, which is 24-2008. So.
Yeah, and just as a reminder, I'm just looking it up to confirm, the LWCF grant is the one that has a $2 million limit, and our application is for 1.91, 818,000, and matching the rest of that with our own, with the bond funds. So that's like I said, 1.91 million application. And then let me go back and confirm what the WWRP local parks is.
That was I think it was 813 with a 406. So it was a 406,000 right around there, wasn't it? With a match of 406, something like that. So.
Yep, I'm just coming back to find it. Cautionary. Yeah, for some reason that's not showing, but yeah, it's on the order of 400,000. It's half of the. Let's see, why is this not?
I got 813 for the total grant or the total cost, which was, I think it was like 406 and change.
Yeah, 406. Yeah. Okay. So 1.91 for the LWCF and 406 for the WWRP local parks. And yeah, so this is in our timing for submitting the The authorization that this is proposed to sign off is in July sometime. So this is, we got a couple weeks in advance, but this is the right meeting to do it.
All right, so I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say we need to do them separately.
Sure.
So, if there's any questions or discussion regarding, 24-2007 for the LWCF grant? I'll entertain a motion. So, yeah. Be helpful to have this in front of you.
Sure. Make a motion to approve, the applicant resolution authorization document for resolution 2024-03, project number 24-2007, South Beach Aquatic Recreation Center, LWCF.
I'll second that motion.
It has been moved and seconded to approve the applicant resolution authorization under resolution 2024-03, project number 24-2007. South Whitby Aquatic Recreation Center, LWCF. All those in favor say aye.
Krista, I.
Jake, aye.
Matt, aye.
Jennifer, aye. All those opposed say nay. The ayes have it and the motion passes. Is there any question or discussion for the resolution or the application for WWRP? Not, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the applicant resolution 2024-04 or project number 24-2008, South Beach Aquatic Recreation Center, WWRP.
And I will second that motion.
It has been moved and seconded to approve the applicant resolution number 2024-04, project number 24-2008, South Whitby Aquatic Recreation Center, WWRP. All those in favor say aye.
Krista, I.
Jake, aye.
Matt, aye.
Jennifer, aye. All those opposed say nay. The ayes have it and the motion passes. Field policy updates.
All right. Well, earlier in the year, staff had noticed some issues with our field use policies, or maybe a lack of clarity on some of them, was causing frustration with staff and with user groups. So we sat down and had some meetings, me, Tom, and Sky in particular, just to look at ways to improve our policies, to clarify our expectations, with the goal of minimizing the frustration from park users. In your packet was an updated field draft for your review. Just so you know, the policy after staff created this, initial copy was sent out to the field committee, which consists of Matt and Eric. Then it was sent out to the Little League and the Youth Soccer Club. We gave them a little over 3 weeks to review it and comment. We received some really good positive feedback from the soccer club. They had some good input, which we implemented into the policy. After their feedback was received, we then sent it to Eric and Matt for, their comments and their input and anything they had to say. They had good input and we incorporated that input. And that got us to our final draft, which is in your packet today. The goal would be to, what we're recommending is that, I know we just finished our policy section, but we're going to add a little section. And that is to approve to move this field policy as it is written and add it into our policy manual under section 3.03.06, which is the field use section. So we just literally would just pop it right in there. It'll be part of our official policy manual. So that is where we were at. I'll entertain any questions or comments. Concerns?
What about the high school teams? I know it affected them a little bit. Did they have any feedback?
They have not. And, in high school, with the times they use it are pretty,
Pretty,
and they have high priorities, so it hasn't really been an issue.
okay.
Particularly since we've opened up the elementary field across the way, which is technically their field.
And
I think the relationship's
it's mostly the select teams that there's been.
winter.
Winter's teams.
And so you'll see that we broke the
Right.
policy up by winter.
policy.
January,
Yeah, yeah.
February.
And you know, people get frustrated when they don't understand. And so I think it's on us to make sure that, you know, we're not gonna make everybody happy. But we want to make sure that we're saying things in a clear way so that when people have questions or concerns, we can explain to them that there's a logic behind this and that in the case of winter policy, the soccer club has signed off on this. So they're not, because they brought this policy to their meeting, so all their members had a chance to go through it. So they took it seriously and vetted it pretty well. And like I said, their feedback was
Good.
overall
It
positive.
was brilliant
Okay.
to get buy-in and
Yeah, you know, we're all trying to get the kids on the field. And so, this I think will help and minimize some of the frustrations. A lot of it's communication issues, and it's not the association leaders, it's, you know, coaches will get frustrated because they don't understand, or they want things that just they can't have. At times they can't have it, so this causes frustration, so this I think will help. And the other thing that the soccer club is doing, particularly for winter issues, is that they have taken on the community center field. They have taken on, and Tom and his crew have done some help on things they can't do, which has been nice. But they are transforming that field into a useful field for them. That's also a sand-based field, just like the elementary school. So again, winter, it holds up a lot better. Their biggest challenge in winter and frustration was they didn't like that field because they didn't like the sidelines for fans. That was their biggest challenge. So they'll take care of the issue over there. So there'll be more options for them too that will eliminate some of the challenges. So soccer club's been very proactive in trying to fix the problems too. So that's been good.
Okay, cool.
if there's no further discussion, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the new field policy as it is written and add it into our policy manual under section 3.03.06, the field use section.
I'll second that motion.
It has been
Sorry,
moved and
Kristen.
seconded
That's
to
okay.
approve the new field policy as written and that it be added into our policy manual under section 3.03.06, the field use section. All those in favor say aye.
Krista, I.
Jake,
Aye.
Jennifer, aye. All those opposed say nay. The ayes have it and the motion passes. All right, cybersecurity checkup.
Well, we will be making probably one more change in our policy manual in the next few months, and that is our cybersecurity section. As I mentioned this before, but as part of our financial audit with the state this year, we were made aware of a free service they provide to public agencies to do a cyber check-in. Basically, Sky and I had multiple meetings with their cyber people to talk about how we do things and what our policies are, et cetera. And as a result, they make a list of recommendations, which are in your packet. I won't go through those in depth, other than to say what happens, what the overall theme of their feedback was you don't have really set policies or procedures. In other words, you're doing things well, you have nice firewalls and you've got nice security. And that's mostly because we have Sky, who's an IT guy, doing something that isn't really his job to do, but he's an expert at it. So, and he does it generously and with a good spirit. But so basically what they're saying, their biggest feedback to us, and again, it's not a audit, they're not reviewing us, they're just giving us recommendations, is that you should put everything you're doing into a policy thing so people have clear expectations. So that's what we're going to be working on later this year. I'll give you an example out of the, you go to kind of the overview that they have here. A lot of the not implemented items are things like, do you have a cybersecurity awareness program? Do you maintain an inventory of contacts? All things that would be in a policy. Are employees required to use a strong and unique password? And again, a lot of what we're doing as a staff now is thinking, okay, what's it going to be like when our staff team is 30 people more? And so while Sky, Carrie, Shelby and I in the office are, more laid back with some of the, policies. We've got to make sure we're going to create policies so that we're ready to bring on a lot of new people and they'll understand the expectation. So later this year, as we're working this up, I'll come back with a real policy thing. You have something there?
No, sorry about that.
That's okay. Anyway, so I'll be coming back later this year with, some cyber policy recommendations that we can add into our policy manual. And obviously I've got Sky to work with there, so. But I included in your packet the entire report, so you guys can look it over. Every page has a little box where they either say either we're doing it or we're not, so. Yeah, it was a really good exercise. It's good to have a professional look at what we're doing. It also makes you feel really good when they talk about how secure we are because, Sky's put some good stuff in place. So him and Sky talk the same language. It was kind of fun to listen to them talk. So, and appreciate the heck out of Sky. I mean, really, he makes us better on this level and he doesn't have to, which is great. So anyways, any questions about that? I'm just gonna zip through it because you guys can read it at your leisure.
Yeah, I mean, the issue that's driving this is these ransomware events that have become more common in the last couple of years where a municipality or an entity like us, either the data is compromised or locked out and then ransomed back to us. So that's the most threatening thing. So, things that we can do based on this checkup to improve our resilience in the face of that kind of an attack where, like I said, we would be forced to regain access to our data to pay some kind of a ransom, is the thing that I think is the area of greatest risk.
So this will make us better, which is good. Be ready for the next phase.
All right, sports complex asphalt bid.
All right, well, we received 4 bids. This is to overlay the asphalt at the sports complex parking lot. It's also to do the little section from the gate down to Langley Road that needs to be done. And then we did an alternative bid just to see if we had enough money to continue asphalting the maintenance shop. So there was $130,000 allocated in the 2024 budget for this. Like I said, we received 4 bids. The lowest bid came from Craig Construction for a total of $96,259. There'll be some user tax and other taxes on top of that to come out to a little under $105,000. So that's a good size savings from what we anticipated. So I'll show you the bid tabs, which are the 4 bids that we received. You'll see where Craig is was the lowest by a good portion. All 4 were good bids. So anyways, the motion I'm looking for is just permission to enter into a contract up to $105,000, not to exceed $105,000. I think is the best way to put it. With Craig Construction for the overlay in the sports complex parking lot and laying new asphalt at the maintenance facility.
Any questions?
Have
Entertain a motion.
well,
Sorry, Matt.
just one question. Have we, I don't recall, but have we ever used Craig for a project like this in the past? Do we have any feedback on their performance?
Yeah, we used them in the fall. They did the Castle Park parking lot that we put in. And so, yeah, they were excellent.
They also did the original paving at the sports complex.
You would know.
Got it. Okay.
They've done the majority of our larger overlays and new asphalt. Generally, if it's a pretty high volume job, they're the ones that are probably going to get it because they produce their own asphalt.
Yeah.
So just the cost of their own material saves them. That's usually why they're low bid, but they're great.
Got it. Okay.
The only
Thank you.
only downside, and it's a minor downside, is we were hoping to get this done in August. They have the county contract for the summer, so they're going to be doing streets all summer, so they're not going to be able to do it till probably later in September. Not ideal, but we'll work with the sports group,
It's
let
okay.
them know. So it'll be probably 2 days of the sports complex being closed will look like a Monday, Tuesday kind of combination, so. Not perfect, but not the end of the world either, so it's, as long as we give soccer enough notice, it'll be all right.
If there's no further discussion, I'd entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion that, Parks enter a contract not to exceed $105,000 with Craig Construction for overlaying the asphalt at the sports complex parking lot and laying new asphalt at the maintenance facility.
I will second that motion.
It has been moved and seconded that the park enter into a contract not to exceed $105,000 with Craig Construction for overlaying the asphalt at the sports complex parking lot and laying new asphalt at the maintenance facility. All those in favor say aye.
Krista, I.
Big guy.
Matt, I.
Jennifer, aye. All those opposed say nay. The ayes have it and the motion passes.
Hey, just one note real quick, to your timing point there, Brian, we currently have that, looks like budgeted in the month of August. So if it's gonna be September, October, we're gonna be carrying 130,000 deferred, more 130,000 in additional deferred capital. So just be aware that we're gonna be kind of piling things up, looks like towards the late third and fourth quarter. But this is just one more thing in that stack.
Carrie caught that earlier too. She'd asked that same question. So we're probably not gonna be billed till October for this now. Yeah, okay, no made. Last time. Look at that. I think we are. Are we ready for the last item?
It looks like
Well, the
Yes,
two items,
it's one
they
minute.
kind of go together. So
Yeah.
you're right, there is an E and an F, but they kind of
Yeah.
go, there's one memo.
got it.
All right, well, staff have been working, Carrie and I have been talking about just analyzing the different funds that we have. Currently, we have 5 funds for the county. With the impending bond proceeds, the 15 million that's going to be deposited next month. We need to have a dedicated fund, so that we're clearly taking and giving into that fund. And we don't want to create a 6th fund. We don't think it's needed. So, after spending a lot of time kind of looking at the different funds and how they function and what they do, we came up with 2 recommendations. The first one is resolution 2024-05. This would close our property fund. The property fund was designated for the campground project. With the campground project, not currently, it's active, but it's not percolating. We'll transfer the remaining balance, which is around 189,000 we have in there. It'll go into the capital fund. It'll still be tracked the same in our system. We'll know where it is. If we need to spend money on the campground, it'll be there to spend. So we're not closing off the funds to our use. We're just moving them out of one fund into another that's got bandwidth for it. So in Carrie's computer, it'll still stay in the same spot. She'll know right where it's at. And then along with that, we have a previously open fund, which was a construction fund. This fund was closed back in 2013. And what we're proposing is to reopen that fund and make that the dedicated fund for the Aquatic Recreation Center. We have consulted with the Island County Treasurer to make sure that these 2 moves make sense and they are logical for them. And they have no feedback that gave us any concerns or any red flags to these moves. So they seem pretty straightforward. And it keeps us at 5 funds, which is, we don't need any more than 5 funds. So those are our 2 recommendations.
Yeah, and as treasurer, I support the board, the staff recommendations.
And so, Carrie, there's nothing in app or anything like that that says you can reopen something that's closed. There's nothing that says that you just have to keep going. Right? I understand that we're not creating anything new,
Right.
but is reopening something that's previously been closed. Okay.
Yes, that's where we checked with the county. That's where we checked with the county and told them our specific plan to reopen a previously closed fund. And Tony Lamb, the treasurer, was the one that responded back. And yeah, they were fine with it. It made sense. Yeah, right. There was no.
Are you concerned about the reopening or the closing?
I'm concerned about reopening a fund that has been closed.
It was closed by resolution in the past, and this is opening it by resolution.
Okay, so you don't have any audit concerns.
I think the county would, for instance, the property fund, let's say we get a few years down the line and maybe we're looking at acquiring something or doing something like that. This may be a fund that we may want to reopen. It just doesn't seem useful or practical to keep a fund open like a property fund that doesn't really have a, we had discussed even renaming the property fund. And just making that.
That
into the-
seems even more dangerous.
Yes, yeah, that's what we came up with too. That it just seemed cleaner to open up an empty fund that's sitting there.
Yeah.
Ready to go. The county supports it. They have no trouble. These things just require resolutions, so that's why we're bringing the 2 resolutions forward for you to vote on.
It's a new thing for us. So
We're learning a lot.
As long as the campground funds continue to be.
yes,
For
it
that,
will still be completely distinct. And a separate pot of money, but
Guess you know a lot of voting tonight.
Any other questions? Otherwise, I'll make a resolution or I'll propose a resolution.
Pose a motion?
Okay, so I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2024-05 to close property fund number 665 and reopen construction fund number 741.
We need 2 resolutions, Matt, so let's just do the first one.
Well,
We
they have
need
the
2
same.
we need 2 separate motions. So we need one for resolution 665 and.
There's a typo on there too, and I apologize. The second resolution is 2024-06. So that was a typo by me.
We've got that.
Oh, but on my memo.
Oh,
it's-
Okay,
Okay, I'll revise my motion. The motion should revise to say approve resolution 2024-05 to close property fund number 665.
I'm sorry, Matt, one more thing. As part of that, we also need to throw in that we're transferring the funds into the capital fund number 768.
it is part of the resolution.
it is part of the
Okay.
resolution.
So never mind. Ignore me.
So motion,
Yeah, that works.
Matt, I think your motion can stand if
Yep.
someone would like to second it.
I'll second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve resolution 2024-05 to close the property fund number 665. All those in favor say aye.
Jake, aye.
Matt, aye.
Jennifer, aye. All those opposed say nay. The ayes have it and the motion passes.
Yeah,
I would
I'll make
entertain-
motion to approve resolution 2024-06 to reopen the construction fund number 741.
I'll second that.
It has been moved and seconded to approve resolution 2024-06 to open construction fund number 741. All those in favor say aye.
Krista, I.
Jake, aye.
Matt, aye.
Jennifer, aye. All those opposed say nay. The ayes have it and the motion passes. Right. If there's no further business, we will adjourn at 7:20.
Okay,
Pretty good.
I will stop recording.
Thanks, Matt.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Good night.